This is the end. All right, I want to go through specific questions for Steve Quayle in just a moment when we go back to him. I want him specifically how he sees it unfolding, how they'll announce more cases, will they release something that actually kills a bunch of people to ensure the hysteria? What do we know is in these test vaccines? What have we caught them doing in the past? It's just there's so many facets, so much proof. I mean, we're so much alike. We're trying to just warn them and show them. It's like being in a car with a nut driving it. You know he's about to run off the road and kill you, but he won't stop. How do you see this unfolding? How do you see them, from studying the globalist, unfolding this, ratcheting this up?
Well, we're seeing it right now, but basically the media will be the mouthpiece, the military will be the enforcement, and the apathy and indifference is what they're counting on. See, one of the things that they're counting on is the sleep inducement that they've been able to do, and I don't mean literal sleep, but I mean putting everybody kind of into a state of, well, you know, they would never do that. I think the thing that's everybody's got to watch is the death of the American dollar. I would say, now, you're asking specifics. This is as specific as it gets. You're going to see the dollar get hammered more and more as we get towards late August, okay? Concurrent with the stress on the financial systems and concurrent with the stress on the Obama administration by people challenging it and pointing out all of the crooks that are incorporated into it, I think you're going to see more and more draconian measures taken. You're going to see multiple gun incidents. Now, how does this all relate? Easy. You cannot vaccinate a man who's able to shoot back, can you, Alex? You cannot force someone to do something if they still have any freedom. You're going to see specific substances. You're going to see pharmaceutical, which is already happening, the necessary drugs for people who are on antidepressants. Those are going to start disappearing. The pharmacists are going to say to you, by the way, pharmacists already told me this is happening, we're having the hardest time getting that. People who suffer from chronic pain, gee, we're having a hard time getting pain relief. People that are going to begin to see that the noose is tightening on them. More and more people are going to become disgruntled. Thrown into that mix are going to be professional agitators. And I mean, listen, these guys think nothing about shooting, killing any way they can multiple groups of people.
Well, that's like Operation Northwood. Stay there. Back in 70 seconds with Steve Quayle. Your calls are coming up. We're going to continue with Steve laying this out. Then I want to look at the vaccines themselves, what they're doing. These are live vaccines. These are already causing all sorts of illnesses and bad reactions.
Finally in the news this evening, it's being reported that cyber spies from Russia and China have now penetrated our power grid. Even as energy experts are reporting that each summer we get closer and closer to the limits of our nation's power grid, some say that this summer's demand for electrical power may finally push the grid over its edge, creating a cascade of power outages across the country, putting us all in the dark.
Are you prepared for the next round of storm-related outages or government-created blackouts? Have you ever thought about taking steps to get off the grid and generate your own private supply of electrical power? If so, this will be the most important information you have ever heard. Solar-powered generators are finally available. They have no moving parts to wear out or break and require absolutely no gas whatsoever. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Check out mysolarbackup.com before you lose your power.
I've been asking my questions of Steve Quayle. It's your chance to ask him coming up in the next segment, specifically on the police-state buildup, the economy, the plunging dollar, the Chinese this week and last week not buying Treasury bills that are offered, how the globalists plan to use a flu hysteria, fear-mongering as their cover. I'm not trying to toot our horn either. I'm just saying that people need to pay attention to what we're saying. Back in March, I said I believe that stage flu was in the cards because of the intel we were getting. Major movements, mass graves, federalization of police, troop buildups, hardening of police facilities for flu. So it wasn't hard to say, look out for flu. Steve has been harping on this, for 14, 15 years, in depth, with precision. Then we've now seen the massive buildup towards this. Remember, I got an internal document from the state of Texas from a local administrator in the city of Austin, who I know personally. And it had phone numbers and names of doctors where they met with the feds back in April, and they said, we're not really at level 4, we're really at level 5, and in 96 hours we're going to level 6, but the public won't be told this for months. And under that, forced inoculations, lockdowns, all of that. We're now, and then they announced a month ago, oh, back in April we went to level 6. I posted that document with phone numbers, and PsyOps went online and said I was a liar and to not call the phone numbers. Later it was all confirmed. See, you judge a tree by its fruits. I'm getting attacked. Steve's getting attacked. Pray for us. We need those prayers. Steve, continue with breaking down how this unfolds.
Well, first of all, to food. Everything I'm hearing is that there's going to be, once the banking crisis is formally announced, that the insiders that are going to be taking over all areas where food are stored, that means university cafeterias, that means food stores, grocery stores, any place, Alex, retirement homes, food supply, everything is going to center around food. So they're going to manipulate you to have to take the vaccine by claiming that if you go into a food store, grocery store, whatever, shopping mart, that without you're going to be endangering the public welfare. Now remember, public welfare can be as broadened as possible. I think the most telling thing that can give everyone a real heads up is that when they begin to see open military in their towns, I don't know how you and I can make it any clearer than this.
It's already happening.
Yeah, it's already happening. But see, they're still wondering if it's just a psyop. No, it's not a psyop. I'm sorry, I used the wrong word. This is the deployment. And they are deploying the troops.
This is not a pre-preparatory psyop. This is the big move, you're saying.
Yeah, and this is not just a national level exercise. Listen, I am absolutely terrified when they announce an exercise because I think of all the other things that have happened, including 9/11 in the presence.
Well, if you look at the exercises, they start with NLE 09 and run straight through into the winter.
Yep. Listen, let me say this too, Alex. In San Antonio, there's a nurse that described 3 unrelated patients who all had a hemorrhagic virus that came within 2 days. One of the people died, and she said the doctors didn't even know what the virus was. That's because doctors, nurses, hear me. You've never seen them before because they never existed before until they genetically altered and made them in a laboratory.
Well, what does Pianka at UT said? He says, soon the airborne Ebola, you can pull up these quotes, will be among us, 90% will die. And he said, I'm ready for me and my wife and family to die. I'm sad about it, but we're all ready to die. And his students work in bioweapons production and email me, and we post it with their graduate papers saying they want to kill all of us.
Right, Alex, one of the biggest things I think is a tip-off that this is not a exercise is up even in what's called the Glacier International Airport, which is up in still Kalispell, Whitefish, Montana area. C-130s were doing touch and goes with the rear cargo door down. They only do that for fast deployment of armor under what they consider enemy attack. They're getting ready to close the border, the Canadian border, so that people cannot flee what's getting ready to come. The slaughterhouse of the United States of America is soon to begin.
Well, there's no doubt the globalists have said that in their own textbooks. It's clear they're setting up to try it. We better expose them like our lives depend on it. A lot of other key points coming up.